Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lamenters, our Lamentations of the Flame Princess campaign. Picking up from the last episode, the group, had explored quite a bit of the areas below the chateau. And the last area that you guys had entered was a return to the very large underground lake area where you saw floating out about 5 feet out from the shoreline in the water, in the shallows of the water, you saw 2 stone frogman statues. Bane, you with your torch had kind of been in the front. You were walking in, and as I mentioned, there is a fair amount of dry, rocky shore before the water line, about 30 feet. And in the visibility from where you come out from that tunnel, in the visibility in that area, you have about 30 feet of lighting with your torch. And at the far edges of it, it's very dim. So you see what you think is that the shoreline kind of hooks around sort of towards your east and it goes east and north. But where you are, kind of in the middle of that dry, rocky coastline, is you're about 10 feet away from the water line. So in total, it's about 10 feet away from the water line, and another 5 feet past that is where you saw the stone frogman statues.
I'd like to approach the statues and inspect them thoroughly.
Okay, so bear in mind that as you get closer, you go right up to the water line. You're now about 5 feet away from them, and you see that there is a slight amount of movement in the water, almost like a gentle sort of like a slight amount of tide. Not significant to where it's making a lot of noise and like waves are lapping up onto the shore, but just there's a slight amount of movement in the water.
I'll move forward tentatively.
The water, as you get that close, you see that the water looks actually pretty clear. It looks pretty clear. It's not murky. It looks like perhaps some kind of underground river or spring-fed water source. And as you're kind of looking at the water and looking up at the statues that are about 5 feet away from you, you notice that the frogman statues are almost identical to each other, but also to the statue that you saw in the previous room that connected this part of the cave complex.
I'm
Sarah,
inspecting for... Oh, sorry.
You open your eyes, and you see about 50 feet away, you see who you think is Bane holding a torch. And you see the torchlight flickering on these 2 statues, although from your perspective, you're looking from behind the statues, sort of to the side and behind the statues. So you see Bane, and you see the torch, and you see the backs of these stone frogman statues. And they have like a fin on their back, like almost like a fish.
Am I on shore?
You are on about 3 feet of rocky shore, and you can't really see very much of what's around you because you don't have a light source, but you can hear the slight sound of water moving just near you.
Okay, I'm going to light a torch.
Okay, Bane, you hear something moving off to your northeast, just out of the reach of your torchlight. You're muted.
I hold up my axe.
Okay. Claude and Bivoj and Oldrad and Leonard, you guys are also kind of on the rocky shore, sort of behind Bane, I'm assuming?
Mm-hmm.
You could see in Bane's torchlight, you could see that the cave goes to your left to the west, and you see the cave walls within the torchlight that kind of arch and turn into the larger expanse of the cavern where the water is. To your right, it looks like the cave walls go east and north, but you can see that it extends further than that on the right side, on your right side, as you're looking at the water. Who is standing closest to Bane and the torchlight?
Seeing that Bane didn't get attacked viciously out of the water, I'm going to get closer to the water myself now.
Okay. Make a wisdom roll under.
Oh boy. Well, there it is. 4 under.
You hear movement. You hear something or someone moving off to the northeast of you, along where you saw that coastline extending out into the lake.
I point my candle in that direction. I say, "There's something over there. It's moving." And I approach
Sarah,
in that direction.
you see Oldrad with a candle kind of slowly walking in your direction.
Bane, Oldrad, it's Sarah.
You guys hear the voice of Sarah.
Be
calling
careful.
out to you kind of from the
It
dark.
could be some trick.
Yeah, right.
But I go that way. I still go that way.
I asked the group, do we all hear her voice this time? Are we all hearing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Sarah, can you hear me?
It might be some more trickery. I prepare my spear just in case.
I am coming
Always
around
loaded.
the side, heading toward you, toward the light that you guys have.
You guys see a few sparks, and then you see a torch come to light as Sarah sort of stands up and slings her backpack and starts carefully walking. Now with more visibility, Sarah, you are on a, at most, 3-foot deep ledge that's overlooking the water. And you start to carefully kind of come around using the cave wall to guide you until you get back towards the main part of the rocky shoreline. And you see most of, but not all, of your group. Missing from the group are Havardr and Liber. You note this as the others kind of look at you, and you see they... Actually, would you notice this? Let me just have a gander. You are not the wisest person, so maybe you don't necessarily see... go ahead and make a wisdom roll under.
Okay. Oh, I wish I knew how to do this. Okay, wisdom roll under. That's a D20.
Yeah.
Okay, D20. Sorry about this. I didn't have all my screens up.
That's fine. I rolled for you and I rolled a 2. So miraculously, you notice that your party mates are looking at you suspiciously. Almost all of them kind of seem a little bit suspicious or cautious.
What's wrong?
Where have you
Are
been?
you real?
Huh?
Are you real?
Yeah.
There might be something up in the other hole that you might want to look at. And I'm pointing back towards the other cave.
Oh no, that's not in the other cave. It's just in a pile behind you. Remember, you guys tied them up and dragged them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're by the frog statue.
Okay.
At the intersection.
I-
Put your hand up. I poke her hand to see if it's real.
It seems to be real.
Well, there's that at least.
Well, show her the body.
We've been running into some strange things when we first lost you and the other two, so just checking to be sure.
Well, I remember getting scared and running away.
Well, we ran into what looked like a mummified version of Lord Judain but only myself and Bivoj saw it and attacked it, and it somehow disappeared in a blinding flash of light.
Yeah, show her the bodies, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
Come over here.
We
Okay,
found
I'm
some
coming.
strange bodies. All right.
You follow them back to the southwest down a short, like 20-foot hall, but it's very narrow. And again, this is all cave wall, cave ceiling, cave floor, with slight lichen and fungi growths that are bioluminescent. But as you approach this other cavern, smaller chamber, you see a frog statue, very similar to the ones that you saw out in the water in the larger underground lake cave. But next to that, you see a pile of 3
Raccoons.
figures, almost like statues. And you're not sure, the skin looks kind of real, but it also looks a little bit waxy. It has kind of a sheen to it. And you notice one of them bears a startling resemblance to you, Sarah, down to the fact that it has your hair.
I touch my hair.
Your hair is there.
I poke the effigy.
It has the consistency of a candle. It seems to be made of wax. But
We found
the accuracy and similarity in the facsimile of you is remarkable.
We found these, and the 2 others are of Havardr and Liber
I see
in
that.
like a alcove full of spider webs wrapped up in cocoons. It was extremely strange.
Yeah. This whole place is strange.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back. I have a tale to tell.
Are we done exploring down here, fellows?
Now, to be clear, Bane, you did not actually go out into the water because this scene with Sarah sort of interrupted right before you were going to step into the water.
I still wanted to inspect the statues and maybe stick my foot in the water and see if it feels like actual water.
So is everyone going back to the shoreline?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you all return to the large cavern. Bane, you dip a toe into the water. It's cold. It's water.
Okay, I'll take some water and clean my face.
Okay, you do. It
How about the
doesn't smell. It doesn't smell like salt water. It smells like fresh water. It has an earthy sort of smell. Do you taste it?
I will taste it. Just a
a
tad.
saving throw. No, I'm just kidding. It's nice and cold and fresh.
I refill all my flasks and everything that all my pouches.
Okay.
Are the statues? You said they were only in about 5 foot of depth.
So the statue out in the one that was in the room was on a pedestal, but it looked like in total it was about 5 feet tall. The statues that are out in the water, about 5 feet out from the shoreline, they look like they're the same size. They look identical. And the water line goes up to about their knees. So you estimate based on that the water at that distance out from the shore is only a foot deep.
And with the clarity of the water, can I see? I can basically see how deep it is.
Yes, and you, I mean, if you like lean out with your torch, you could see that these statues are not on a pedestal. They are just like the
Part of the
feet
ground.
of the frog-like feet of the statues are like on the rocky, not murky, but the rocky bed of the water.
Okay, I'm gonna feel for any type of latches or anything that moves on the statues at all.
I'll check the other one that he's not looking at.
Okay, so you guys go out to the statues. as you get closer with your light, you see that the statues both have a place right around, forgot what this little spot's called, like where you're right above your,
Yeah.
this little hollow spot, right? There's like a spot where it's literally like indented, and it has sort of like facets, almost like it's meant to hold something.
Oh,
Each of the statues have one of these right at the base of where their neck meets their chest.
What's the size of the indentation?
Relatively small, like the
It's
size
the
of
shape
of a
brooch
D20.
I think it's the shape of the, you know, those
of that brooch.
The
jewels
clasp?
we found.
Or the gems?
The gems, yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Do
Perhaps.
you dig through your treasure packs to find those gems?
Yes,
Yeah,
Oldrad
I
and
do.
I have the 3 gems
I
between
have
the two of us.
I have one.
Okay.
I have 2.
I don't know if it's a good idea, guys.
You find the gems. The gems are 3 different colors. One's red, one's blue, and one's green. But as you are looking at them, they are the same size and they are cut in the same exact fashion. And as you kind of
Now we
look
just
at
gotta
them
figure out
and
what
look
order
at
they
the
go in.
statue, you notice that the cut seems to align with the indentations on the frog statues' necks.
Do they both seem to be able to fit in either one? Like they're exactly the same?
Yes.
Okay.
And to remind you, you have 3 of those gems.
Yeah. They're the
One
red,
will have to go
green,
in the
and
statue
blue.
out in the hallway.
Yeah.
Which order, brother? Which order should we put them in?
I look over the statue. Is there any indication or lettering, perhaps, or
No.
markings?
There's no engravings because these statues aren't on a pedestal. Now
Right.
remember in the other room where there's a statue on a pedestal, that pedestal did have the strange runes and symbols that so far Leonard has only been able to decipher small parts of.
Yeah, I think we need to try and figure
I
that
feel
out.
We'll open a portal to an exit.
Leonard,
I hope
do
the
you
same.
recall?
Yeah.
Leonard, do you recall the information you were able to glean from the pedestal?
That was the road path travel one?
Yes. There were 3. You thought that there were possibly 3 interpretations of what that symbol meant.
Yeah.
Road, path, and travel.
Sorry guys, this language is new. I don't have colors yet. So we might try to brute force it. Maybe.
There's only so many combinations it could
There's
be.
only a few. Well, I have the red one, the red gem.
I would say that maybe red one to the cross section because like red doesn't fit to the water. I would say.
I agree.
We may try that.
Well, I give Oldrad the blue one, and have Oldrad give Bivoj the red one.
Red one, yeah.
And let's all insert them at the same time.
I take the gem and I look at it. Yeah, we'll do this, but I have a very bad feeling about this. And I go to that statue in the cross section.
Okay, so I need to know who. So Bivoj is going to go to the statue in the cross section, with which color?
The red gem.
With the red one.
With the red one, okay. And then if you're looking at the statues from the shore, there's the one on the left and the one on the right. Who's going to the left one and with which gem?
I'm at the left with what did we have? White or green, blue, and red?
I have the blue, and I'll be at the
I have
other
the
one.
green.
Hang on a second. I'm going to walk out and bare my arm and put it in the water. I want to feel from which direction the water is flowing.
Okay, no roll necessary. The water seems to be coming into this cavern very slowly, not like a big current, and it hits the shore, and then it gently goes back out. But the water definitely seems to be coming in from beyond. You're not sure from where, but from the north, presumably.
Okay, it comes from the north. I was hoping it was the east or the west. Oh,
Well, you're not sure how far out it goes because your torchlight only extends 30 feet. And after the shoreline, this cavern opens up to the north, to the west, to the east, further than your light will illuminate. It's also the largest of the caverns with about a 20-foot tall ceiling.
Okay, I say, hang on a second. I'm going to walk out to the left of the leftmost statue. And I walk out as far as my waist.
Okay. The leftmost statue is only a foot deep.
Yeah, but
so you're going to go beyond it?
Yeah, I'm going to walk out to where I'm about waist deep. I'm trying to be careful.
Okay, so you go out about...
It's all right. It's all right.
You go out about 15 feet, and that's when it starts to drop off, and you get to about where it's waist level. Bane.
The necklace that I found with the gems in the chest, the gold necklace that has the embedded gems in them. Can you tell me if those gems are the same color as the full-size gems that we found?
They are.
And can
the
you tell me
necklace
what
that you found, the gold necklace that you found also has 3 gems. 1 red, 1 green, and 1 blue.
Can you tell me in which order they are in?
The red is in the center. All right, so if you're looking at it on someone, like if someone's wearing it,
yeah,
the red is in the center, the green is on the left, and the blue is on the right.
There you go.
Now, from a bird's eye view, would these statues actually line up? If we took all the walls away, if we took all the cavern walls away, would these things line up in like a triangle or of some sort?
You get this seed in your head. You run back down the hall where Bivoj is, and you see that the statue on the pedestal is facing the same direction that the other 2 are facing.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of hold up your torch, and even though the cave kind of curves around into the larger cavern, the tunnel, you don't have a straight beeline, but you're imagining roughly which would be center. And the one in the idol, the on the pedestal, seems like it would be in the center.
Okay, let's place them in the same spots as the necklace.
Smash cut back to Sarah. You're 3 feet deep in the water, up to your waist.
Okay, I'll stick my hand in and feel for the current.
It's very, very subtle.
Okay.
It is not like if you floated on if you floated a piece of wood or something, like it would barely do anything.
Okay. I'll come back out. I'm cold.
Okay. So again, just to clarify, who is in possession of what and which statue are you going to? So I know Bivoj has the red gem and he's by the statue on the pedestal.
On the pedestal. I have the green gem and I
have
the
blue
statue to the left.
Okay.
And I'll be at the other one.
Is anyone doing anything else during this time?
I am readying my bow.
Also,
yes, please be on the ready, warriors.
Keeping my crossbow loaded and looking around for stuff.
All right. Just prior to this, I know this might be a stretch, but all of you are going to make an intelligence roll under. So you're going to roll a d20, and I need to know if you roll under your intelligence.
Nope.
8 under.
A lot under.
1 over.
Just on the point.
Bivoj, Leonard, and Claude, you all succeeded?
Yep.
I was like on the point. I
rolled
6
even.
Intelligence and I rolled 6.
So
I'm
you
like
guys are
15
kind of
under.
You're all right. Wow. So Leonard, I'll give you guys the minor clue first. For those of you who are kind of close to the under. You recall where you found your first signs of any frog things. Do you remember that?
It would be behind the
torture chamber.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
There was a preparation room behind the torture chamber, and you found a lot of kind of ceremonial paraphernalia.
Someone had a dagger.
There was indeed
bronze.
Yes, there was indeed a ceremonial dagger. There was also I just
robes.
had the list. There we go. There was a bronze sacrificial dagger, an onyx statue of a horned demon, a jade statue of a lizard, a granite statue of a two-faced humanoid, and a statue of a frog. You also found 5 hooded robes that were gray with silver clasps, and the silver clasps were carved like a frog head.
I'm wearing one of those.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember who had taken any of them or if they were being used. So you're wearing one of those.
Yeah, and I gave one to Bivoj.
Yeah, I dropped that like 2 or 3 rooms prior. Like in the treasury.
Okay. Leonard, you also kind of contemplate this, and it occurs to you that there must certainly be a connection between the sort of ceremonial stuff that you guys found in the preparation room, these statues, the fact that these gems on both the necklace and the loose gems were in some kind of treasure room. You feel like there's a connection between all of these things. There has to be some kind of connection.
Also the in the room with the well with the red sand, there were scribblings of ritual and the word, from what I understood.
Yes.
Maybe it's connected.
You think that is possible?
Like if there was a sacrificial dagger and it was the preparation room, maybe those frog statues are some kind of deity, and maybe whoever was torturing those people, maybe those were sacrifices for this deity. I have a really bad feeling about this, guys.
Do you think maybe Lord Zidane might have been trying to make a way out of here himself?
Or this is the source of his power? We don't know.
All right. So, are you proceeding with your plan with the gems?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's do that, guys.
Bivoj, you are holding the red gem.
Yeah. I try to wiggle the red gem into the.
Okay, as you approach, you don't even need to wiggle. What happens is it's almost like a magnetic connection. And it when you're within like a few centimeters, the gem literally just hops out of your fingers into the slot.
Well, that was strange.
You see the bioluminescent fungi and the lichen in the room that you're in starts to turn colors, and it now glows red.
Whoa, guys! Everything's turning red here. What's the situation with you?
Bane, do you have the green gem? Okay, are you going to put your gem into the next slot?
I am.
All right, very similarly, you hear Bivoj kind of yell out, everything's turning red here. You put your gem into the next slot. And in the same fashion, it kind of skips out of your fingers when it's within a few centimeters, and it just slots right in. And when that happens, the walls of the cave on the side that you're on the western side, the bioluminescent fungi and lichen begin to kind of have a color shift to a soft green.
Now I have a question. Once the suction has occurred and the gem kind of floats into the spot, can I take it out, or is it stuck there?
Do you try?
I do. I try to pull it out.
You succeed.
Okay, I put it back in.
Okay. Oldrad.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you. So,
Okay.
you have the last of the 3 gems, the blue gem.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what happened because you're standing right next to Bane. Side note,
Yes.
Bane, when you took that out, it kind of, you saw the bioluminescence sort of stop for a moment and start to return to its normal sort of, it dimmed. And when you put it back in, it resumed, and the bioluminescence started to kind of cover the walls, and all of the lichen and fungi took on that greenish color.
Does it seem to be moving?
Does it seem to be moving? No.
Okay, so it's stationary.
But it has. Imagine those like LED light strips. Like it kind of has sort of a very subtle pulsing to it, almost like a wave of light creeping up the walls, and then it kind of gets to the ceiling, and then it kind of comes back down. But it changes into that greenish color.
Fun.
Oldrad, you have the last gem.
I just take a breath and ask for the guidance to do the right thing from the old gods, and I slot the gem.
When you put your gem in, the bioluminescent fungi and lichen on the east side of this cave starts to subtly turn into a bluer hue. And it sort of does the same pulsing kind of movement up across. As all 3 of the gems are slotted in, you see that the frog statue's eyes open.
That's it? Nothing else?
And Bivoj, your frog statue, its eyes open.
Oh my god.
It looks at you.
I look back at it.
It turns around, facing towards the larger cavern, and it steps off of the pedestal, almost like a frog would. It kind of hops down, and then it starts to slowly kind of walk down the hallway towards the other statues.
Guys, my statue is running away. Well, towards you.
It's as you hear Bivoj say this, you see that there is indeed a frog statue, but it's not running, it's just walking. The other 2 statues right next to Bane and Oldrad, their eyes look at you because you're right next to them, but then you notice that they look beyond you towards the shore. And that is when you see that they're staring at Sarah. And they start walking just past you, almost like you don't even exist. They start walking up towards Sarah. Claude and Leonard, you see that the statue where that was on the pedestal where Bivoj was has now entered the chamber, and it is also walking up towards Sarah.
Fish creature, frog creature, can you hear me? Can you speak?
I follow the statue.
Okay. Unless you interfere with them, all 3 of them stop about 5 feet away from Sarah, and they're just staring at Sarah. They do not have weapons. They're just standing and staring at Sarah.
Move into defensive position of Sarah.
Get close to her.
Okay, you guys step up. They seem to have no reaction. They're just staring at Sarah.
Maybe they think you're their mother?
Give him a look.
Just ask them, what's the way out?
What are you? What are you?
You say that. They just look blankly at you.
Nargenheim. Is this about Nargenheim?
Sarah, do you have the dagger?
One of them, the one with the red gem, does one of these moves. Like a dog when you ask it a question. Like he goes,
Okay, guys. I'm wearing the robe, so I think they think I'm a priest or something.
I will try to give her the weird disc. They react anywhere.
Okay.
which of the discs are you giving her? You have 3 now. The original disc that you guys found in the cave when you woke up, and then the other 2 that you found down here in this cave. In the room with the well. So you have 3 discs.
3 frogs. Perhaps.
Is there any place on them that looks like would fit a disc?
No.
Maybe we can just show them or like put it on their heads or whatever?
Hand me one of those discs.
Giving it to him.
Okay.
Which one?
The original one found in the mountain.
I hold it out in the palm of my hand.
All 3 of them look at it.
Hey,
You see
there's
their eyes are kind of moving back and forth. And then
Ask
they
them
look
to
up
show
at
us
you.
the way out.
And they look up at you.
Show me the way out of this place. Okay, it doesn't understand. Could you come and put another disc on my hand on top of this other disc?
Who has the other 2?
I thought you did.
Let's just say you have them.
Okay, then I will add more.
Okay. You put the other disc out, they look at that. They seem to be reading it, and then they look back up at Sarah.
Okay, add the other one.
Okay, Leonard puts the other disc on your hand. You're holding 3 of these discs now. They look at that one, they read it, they look back at you.
Who has the dagger?
Bane, don't you have the dagger?
Bronze dagger.
I have the dagger.
Okay, I hold
Did
up
you
my
also have
other...
a sword?
Say that
Oldrad
again,
has
Neil.
the sword.
Who had the sword?
Oldrad
Me.
has the sword.
I have the great sword.
Okay.
Well, start with the bronze dagger first.
I hand the bronze dagger to Sarah.
Okay, I hold it in my left hand, and I put it next to the hand with the discs.
Maybe show them also the frog statue.
The one with the red gem opens its mouth, and it says, Tid so go die.
They're waiting for a sacrifice. Shit.
Okay. Not a problem. I take the bronze dagger and I slit my pinky. Let it bleed.
The one with the red gem does this again. But then he says, Die might je pouv si move.
I don't understand your language.
You notice that he looks at one of the statues, who looks at him. And then he looks at the other one, who looks back. And then he looks back at you. And he leans forward towards your hand, towards the finger that's bleeding.
I unsheath my greatsword.
And he says, "Gi might je?"
He wants a taste.
Go ahead.
He leans forward very slowly, and basically, like, here's your pinky. He's like, and he looks, you notice that he's looking at the other people in the party now, who some of you said you have weapons out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Qui might je?"
Put them away. Put away your weapons.
I put my axe away.
Very well.
Hesitantly.
Seeing
Yeah, I
that the
stand
weapons
down.
are put away,
Leonard, do you understand any of this?
Yeah, Leonard, I will allow you actually at this point to make another linguistics roll. So roll a d6.
Okay.
Translate, God, translate.
Please, for the love of God, man.
5. Too high.
Excelsior. He looks to you, Sarah, one more time. And he says, this time he points to your bleeding finger and he says, "Gi might je?"
Try putting your finger in your own mouth.
And he leans forward and you see that he puts your pinky in his mouth like this. And he starts to bite down.
Ay.
Do you let him bite your finger off or do you pull away?
Leonard, what did you say?
Pull away and give him the wax you. Give him the wax version of you.
Can someone get that wax version of me?
I'll go
He
grab
bites
it.
your finger
I'm
off.
on it.
Ah!
Too late.
You take only 2 hit points of damage, but you are now permanently missing your pinky finger
The whole finger?
down to the stub.
Oh, Jesus. Well,
And
that's
he is crunching on this finger,
oh, jeez.
and you hear the bones and the flesh, like he's crunching on it, which gives you the impression that he has relatively potent teeth and jaw strength.
I'm
How
going back
much is
for
she
the Liber
bleeding?
statue. I'm going back for...
She's bleeding, dude. Like, he bit her finger off, and he just moved back and he's just crunching it and like nodding his head.
I start to do first aid on Sarah's finger,
Okay.
like wrapping it and trying to stop the bleeding.
You do.
I present
Staunch
him
the
with the wax variation of Sarah.
You return with the wax facsimile of Sarah.
I went for the Liber statue or whatever that's not Sarah.
Okay, so you guys, a couple of you ran off and you come back with these mannequins. The frogmen seem to, like, they look at them and then they just look back at Sarah.
Take your robe off.
Okay.
I point to the statue on the ground as I say, Je. I try to mimic what they said.
I tell Oldrad to take the robe off because I'm holding stuff.
I help her.
He says,
place it
so before you do that, he finishes chewing your finger and then he says, Zotja? And
No seconds. You don't get more.
He says, you haven't heard him say this word before. He says, Zotja, and he points to the discs.
What does that mean?
I would assume that he assumed that you said him that the finger is for him. So I assume he wants to take the disc.
Okay, I will put the disc. I will hold the disc out to him.
So he takes one of them, and he turns it and he points to it, and you can all see, and then he says,
Like he's pointing up.
yes.
Is this the one with the road path travel?
It's the last one you gave me.
It's one of the two. He says, "Ache, ache," and then he sets that disc down, or he hands it to. He sets it down. Then he picks up the other disc, the other one that you found down here, and he says, "Tape, tape," and he points in the direction that you think is east. Kind of, he points out into the water, but sort of in an eastern direction. And he says, "Tape." And then the last disc he looks at and he says, "Tu avj, tu avj." And he holds the disc and he shakes his head.
I think those might be keys, and he is pointing towards the doors.
Leonard, didn't you read the word travel on the altar? Can you repeat that word to these things?
Oh, I think I read the symbol, but I would not know how it's pronounced.
So you could point to the symbol that you think means either road, travel, or... So you could point to that.
Okay. I might try to scribble it and like show it to him.
Okay, so you copy the inscription.
Yeah.
And then you show it to him. And he looks at it, and he looks at you, and he says, "Z's, Z's." He says, "Zjodij Z's, Zjodij Z's." And he kind of shrugs and he looks at you. Ak? Ak Z's? Ak?
Journey up.
Oh,
yeah.
I think he's asking, did we find it? Yes.
So there seems to be journey up, journey east, and the forbidden journey. I would assume.
And then he points again east and he says,
Tape.
"Zjodij tape?
What does
Zjodij
tape
tape?" And he points east when he says that.
Is east the direction we came from originally, Bill?
Or is it like along the shoreline?
It's the direction that you came originally.
Yeah, like, no. We woke up in the mountains and...
You guys woke up in the mountains. You basically went east. And then you may have gone south and then east more.
Okay.
He says,
Is there something up in the cave?
He points up. You see the ceiling. It's a 20-foot tall ceiling, but with your torchlight, you can see it. He says, Ziz?
Exit.
Ziz? Tape Ziz. When he says tape Ziz, he points east.
Exits. We want to go up.
Let's go up.
Exit.
Yes,
We want exit.
yes.
We want exit.
Here.
Ziz?
Exits.
And he looks to the other two. And then he turns back to Sarah and he looks at Sarah and he says, Ziz?
Exit.
Try saying that. Yeah.
He points to you and he says, Zotij, Ziz?
Zodis X's.
He does a nod, and all three of them simultaneously bow to Sarah. And then they begin walking.
Let's follow.
They start
Can we
walking.
ride on their backs?
They start walking back towards the original idol room where the pedestal was.
Okay.
You guys following them?
I am.
Yeah, I guess I'll be right behind them.
Okay. They don't turn to like see if you're following them. They go single file with the red one in the front and they start walking. And again, these are very narrow tunnels, cave tunnels, like where it's single file and you have to kind of walk sideways. So no great weapons in this area.
Yeah.
You guys walk southwest about 15 feet back into the original idol room. And then you turn and walk on a curve southwest back into the mushroom room. Does anybody want to do anything before you traverse the mushroom?
I'm going to cover up again. Cover your mouth, Sarah.
Yeah.
With a cloth or something.
Yep,
Yeah, do that.
Okay. You guys see that the frogmen are marching single file. And they begin to wind their way through the mushrooms. And you notice that as they do, the mushrooms don't exhale any spores. Provided that you are following them in exactly the same path, you will not need to make a saving throw.
I'm going to mimic exactly how they're moving through.
Yeah.
Okay.
How tall are they?
They're 5 feet tall.
Yeah, I will try to make myself smaller.
Okay.
Oh, they're little. That's cute.
Little duck walk.
They proceed through the mushroom room and head south to the hallway that connects the wine cellar to the servants' quarters. Then they turn into the servants' quarters. And they are starting to walk across the servants' quarters to the western wall, where you guys may or may not remember there was a door and a long tunnel, man-made tunnel. They walk up to the door, and then they walk through the door and begin walking west down this tunnel.
Side note, did we ever go down that tunnel?
Breaking down the door?
No.
You did not go down this tunnel.
We've never been there.
That's right. Let's see where it takes us.
Yeah,
But they broke down the door, or
No, the door, you guys, the door was never
Did we
locked.
leave it to-
You opened the door to this. You
And then just
looked
kept
down
going.
and saw a tunnel that
Yeah.
extended
Went
further
away.
than your torchlight.
So we left
So-
it ajar.
They begin walking down this tunnel.
And I no longer have a torch.
Okay.
I have mine, don't worry.
Yeah.
They
Picked up
are
your
walking down this tunnel, and it goes for a really long time.
Keep following.
They walk about 70 feet. And the tunnel ends in a stone wall, like man-made, not cave, stone wall. In the center of the stone wall is an indentation that almost looks like a V with 3 different points, the top points and the bottom point of a V. And when they get there, they kind of turn to the side and stand up against the wall. And the frog with the red gem looks back at Sarah, and he says, "Lies," and he points to the V thing. He says, "Lies."
Lies.
Lies.
Disc.
And he looks at Sarah, and he looks at the rest of you, and he says, "Lies," and he points to the 3 indentations in the V-like shape.
Are those indentations large like the discs or smaller like the...
They are
Gems.
smaller. They're smaller like the gems. And as you look at them, they look like almost the same cut and shape as where you inserted the gems into their necks.
Who has
What
that chain?
I do.
Like what about the yeah, like what about that
Necklace.
necklace
The
we
necklace.
found?
Can we
Those
take the gems
would
out of
be
that?
too small. They're too small.
Okay. Okay.
No, the gems on the necklace are the same size.
Oh, they're the same size. Oh,
Could we take
okay.
them out,
I've
perhaps?
got the
Does the
necklace
necklace
on,
fit
so
in that V shape?
I will take the necklace off and align it to the V with the red in the middle and the green on the left and the blue on the right.
Okay. As you take the necklace and sort of place the middle stone in the red stone in the middle and drape up the ends of the necklace up the shape of the V, you see that the stone door actually glows. And it glows a slight purple glow, and then you hear the sound of stone, like stone on stone, grate, like, and you see the wall kind of recessing about a foot, and then it slides over.
Ooh.
And what you see beyond that is a set of stone stairs covered in dust, cobwebs and spider webs everywhere, but the stone stairs
It's been
seem to
here
go up.
centuries.
Do we smell fresh air from up?
No, but your torches have a pull in this direction.
Hmm.
Well, this is our best shot, guys. We should explore more of this.
The
How
frogman,
does the
the
rest of
frogman
our
looks.
guide?
Sorry, go ahead, Martin.
I just wanted to ask how do they react that you started?
Their reaction is completely neutral, like as
Yeah,
if this is totally normal.
Why don't,
Okay.
why don't
the-
one of us go up there and pop their head up to see what's out there?
The red gemmed frogman looks at you, Sarah, and he points up the stairs and he says, "Exes,
I think he's saying exit, perhaps.
exes,
X's.
exes."
I think they want us to leave now.
Yeah,
Well,
we should go.
We kind of asked for
Yeah.
the guidance, and they gave it to us.
Let's go.
But we're missing people.
Who knows where they are? Like, maybe we'll find them upstairs.
They can't be downstairs. We've pretty much explored every room since our separation downstairs, so they can't be down there.
Maybe they ran somewhere into the mansion.
Well,
Perhaps.
could someone just go up and look and report back what's up there?
Okay,
I
I'll
wish they
I'll
could
go.
understand
Stairs.
us. Then we could show them the wax figures and tell them that we were missing our friends. And we'd leave the necklace with you if you'll help them out. But
Okay,
they
if
don't
you want to-
understand us.
Bane, if you want to drag those wax statues through that maze of the
Mm,
fungi,
that's too
you're
far.
you're welcome. But I'm exploring upstairs, and I go like onto those stairs, removing cobwebs with my torch, and just exploring where this leads.
Bivoj, you begin to ascend the stairs.
I go with them.
When you get about 20 feet up, you see a little bit of light coming through some cracks between some wooden boards.
I try to pray
I
those.
hope it's far
with-
enough from the.
I try to pray those with the spear.
Okay, you actually can move the boards with the spear.
Yeah, like what's behind them?
Make a strength roll under.
Oh, that's not good.
Can I assist him somehow?
Well, yeah, if you're there.
Yeah, I
Go
said
ahead.
I was following him.
Go ahead and make strength roll under.
Yeah, I have strength of 6 and I rolled 8. So no, 2 above.
I could do better, maybe. I'm pretty strong. Should I roll?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I rolled shitty is what I did. Damn it, I rolled 1 over.
You guys just can't seem to get the right leverage.
Hey, Bane!
Can I see him struggling?
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
gonna move up.
they're within the torchlight. You guys basically see that they got to like the top of the stairs and they're trying to push up and they can't seem
gonna
Bane,
make my
train
way
me
up.
spots.
What are
Right,
the frogmen
Claude.
doing?
Claude goes up and
Yeah.
Claude, you can go ahead and try.
I trade spots with Claude.
Ouch. That's 18 against 18, so barely made it.
All right, you push and you're shoving and you hear the boards kind of creak and then you push up and you realize that there's something on top of the boards because you hear a crashing sound of wood. But when you finally push up, you realize that the wood was a trap door and there was something on top of it. You push up and you kind of peek up, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
You are in a small wooden building. There is a table that is now upturned because you just knocked it over. There's some other items in the like. Do you actually go up and kind of look around?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's open.
definitely
I'm
go.
gonna climb out.
Okay, what you see is kind of
Give me
familiar.
a torch.
Stable.
You see that there's an anvil. There's a whole bunch of tools and horseshoes. There's a hammer. You see what looks like maybe a large bellows and a fire, but it's not currently heated up.
We're in the blacksmiths now.
Indeed you are. And you see that there is daylight coming through the window.
Okay.
Okay, guys. My idea, as it's daylight, we can try to go away the same way we came, like hop over the wall, and we may try just escape like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's with the other ones, but we may find them later. We just have to try this, and we'll see what's in the store for us.
I think
Well, if
we
we're
should
gonna
try
do
it,
that,
at least
if we're gonna
looking
try and
once.
leave, we need to go up to the kennels and get the critter. And maybe if
Well-
we go along and find what was it, Martin or something.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
on the way. Like we can do that, no problem.
Yeah.
But we should try to leave.
Sarah, smash cut back downstairs. The 3 statues are just standing there.
Okay, I will put the bronze dagger in my belt.
Okay.
And I will leave.
You go up.
Yeah.
Is anybody staying downstairs?
I'm still down there. I'm
Come
trying
on.
to figure out.
I'm gonna go back down next to Bane.
I want to leave the gems so that our companions can find their way out, but I don't know how to leave instruction, or
Yeah. Well,
they're not going to listen to. I mean, apparently they've got a thing for Sarah, and I don't know what it is. They still followed her even after she took her robe off, so there's something about her. Maybe her background or something.
Well, the other guys were free to roam anyway. They weren't stuck in the castle itself. So
Here's what happened. I tell you two who are there. I had a dream that I heard the Lord's voice, and he asked me, why did Nargenheim fall? And I gave an answer. And then I woke up.
What was your answer?
I told them that I thought that Nargenheim fell because the leaders were too busy trying to gain power, and they forgot about those who did the actual work. And I likened it to a family and a farmstead where people weren't doing their jobs. And I ended the whole thing with basically followers choose the leaders. So if there aren't any followers, there can't be any leaders. And the leaders just didn't, the followers just didn't believe in the leaders anymore.
So maybe we can turn the servants against the Lord Judain.
Sorry.
Oh.
Can I ask you, does your surname mean anything? Because it has similar word structure as Agjit, Debjit, Marjit.
A relative in the early part of the Eastern Kingdoms was connected to the court. I don't know exactly what the story is, but she gained land in Chelsea for something she did for someone in the court. And that's where we settled. We were given that land. Our family was given that land back during that tumultuous time. And we've been on that land ever since. That's basically it. I mean, kind of like, I mean, we aren't noble or anything, but we're mercantilers, and you know, we were just favored, and we were given this land. We're still under the auspices of the state, the crown, but
yeah, I was just thinking if these three buddies over here were pointing us not to the directions but to the families, maybe.
I don't know. That was just my interpretation of why Nargenheim fell. I mean, why does any association fall apart is because they don't believe in each other anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a point where just recently where you guys didn't believe in me, so I can understand that. And you know, we've had family squabbles, but we're always able to work them out. I think Nargenheim just wasn't able to work out their differences in their politicking and their infighting, and they forgot about who actually did the work, and that their followers needed to be taken care of. I mean, we take great pains in our family to take care of everybody. But I think we're done here. I mean, we can scratch a message on this wall, but I don't know if they'll see it because
I can
or be able to read.
Well, priest can read.
I can maybe there out of my notebook page with instructions.
To be clear, not all priests can read. A lot of priests memorize the prayers verbally, and they have only a very basic grasp of reading.
Well, I'm assuming.
Fair.
Who else is? Oh, yeah.
I'll take my
Havardr can.
My butcher's blade and draw a triangle, a pointy triangle in the rock, in the stone towards the exit.
Okay.
They should be able to read an arrow, yeah?
Should we?
If they can make it this far.
Should we go take a look for them?
Weren't they able to just roam free? They were walking around everywhere, so...
Because
no one's free inside this contraption.
As we understand it, Sarah fled in fear, as I am going to assume the others did. So perhaps they could have fled anywhere before they realized where they were, inside the castle.
Yeah, and I don't know how I got where I got. I don't know how I emerged where you guys were.
Yeah.
Right. So they could be anywhere in the castle. We would have to look.
Yeah. Well, we can't really just leave because then we're leaving behind Liber and Havardr. So we need to find them first before
I'm not comfortable with leaving our companions.
I'm not either.
Neither am I.
Like I said, we need to find them and of course get Critter and maybe anyone else that wants to leave. And
maybe the other fellow Martin.
And we're really very tired.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
let's just look and get out of here.
So do you want to go? Do we want to go through the exit through the blacksmith or heading back into the castle?
Perhaps we can search the grounds, get your dog first, and then maybe he could help sniff them out.
I'm gonna turn to those statues. They're still just standing there.
Yeah, they're watching you.
I'm gonna reach up.
I really want to yank. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna reach up to one red gem, and I'm gonna take the gem out.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Sleep well, friends.
Its eyes close and it just stands still.
And I do the same with the other two.
The same thing happens.
Nice.
Okay, and I note the position that they're in. So if we ever need to do this again, we will know.
Yeah.
Got to be a way to mark them. Are we able to scratch?
Well, I have chalk.
Okay. Why don't you write red on this one, blue on this one, and green on this one?
All right.
Okay.
Because we don't want to put the wrong gems in the wrong.
Yeah.
But those gems are like clipping on them by themselves. Maybe.
Oh, so there's no way. I see.
No, we don't know if the green will fit in the red one.
Yeah, that's true. I don't
We
want to
haven't tried that yet.
No.
Who wants to take the gems?
I'll take the blue one.
I'll take the other two back.
Okay, and who had this bronze dagger?
I did.
Okay, I'll give that back to you. And I'll hold my hand very gently.
So are we going up through the
Let's go get Claude's dog first. That could probably assist us in finding the other two, perhaps.
So to be clear, are you all going up into the blacksmiths?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, is it safe to assume that I have to leave the necklace in the door to keep the door open?
Do you want to try taking the necklace out?
I'll leave it until we're sure we're done here.
We could always come back.
Okay.
I just don't want anyone else to have access to where we are.
Okay, so all of you have passed through the door and are up the stairs in the blacksmiths. It is quiet. There doesn't seem to be anybody around inside of the blacksmiths. It's not a big building, so you're very certain that you're the only people in the blacksmiths. You peek out the window, and it looks like, based on kind of the position of the sun, that maybe it's morning. You see the chateau. You see the colonnade, you see the fountain, you see the wall and the hedge maze.
And it all looks new and pristine as we know it to be?
Yes.
It
looks like when you arrived the day before.
Okay. Well, shall we head out to the canal?
Okay. You kind of open the door, it creaks a little bit. You go outside, you're standing out on the grounds.
I'm taking my bow
out. Now, if in case you don't remember, if you imagine the chateau at kind of the center of the grounds, the blacksmiths is kind of to the southwest.
Yeah.
On the western side of the grounds. The outhouse is due north. The kennel is on the opposite side. It's on the northeast side. So you can either go around the front of the chateau to get there, or you could go around the back of the chateau to get to the
Back.
Back.
The back.
Let's go.
That's the
Okay.
best chance of finding the others.
So you guys start walking north, and you see the outhouse. You kind of come around the corner, you see the stables, and just beyond the stables, you see the kennel. Just outside of the stables, as you kind of turn the corner, you see two people. You see Martin, and you see Bertrand, the stable boy. You see Bertrand is like brushing a horse. You see the doors to the stables are open, and you see Martin is dumping buckets of water into a trough. And they have their backs to you, so they don't see you.
Well, let's walk on up.
Okay, you start walking over. When you get within about 10 feet, Bertrand, the boy, looks over and he says, "Good morning, fair guests," and he bows. And Martin says, "Who are you talking to?" And he turns around and he sees you guys, and there's a moment where he kind of pauses, almost like panic. And then he says, "Good morning, fair guests," and he bows. But you notice there's like a look of confusion on his face.
He's turned.
Wondering how we made it out alive, for sure.
He says, and you see him, he turns to Bertrand and he says, "Go in the stables, boy. At the back of the stables, I have go find my hammer." And Bertrand's like, what is it, sir?" And Martin says, "Go into the stables and find my hammer, boy." And Bertrand's like, "Oh, yes, sir." And he runs off into the stables. Martin walks up to you guys, and you notice he kind of does this sort of thing where he looks around, and he kind of looks at the back of the chateau at both the ground level and the upper level. And then he leans into you and he says, "You've survived. You
Well,
survived the night."
sort of.
Yeah, we
Yes,
did.
but we're missing two of our companions. Have you seen them?
He again looks around. He says, "Just before dawn, I saw two of them. The red-haired fellow and the priest."
Where they were going?
They were running towards the entrance to the estate, towards the hedge maze.
Oh crap.
Mhm.
They seemed to be in a hurry.
Well,
We're going to leave if you want to come with.
Have you
You
seen?
found a way out?
we think so. We're just here to get Critter and find our friends and leave. And we were hoping to run into you.
He says, "Oh, your dog."
Yeah.
He says, "We'd better hurry then." And he goes over towards the kennels, and you hear dogs barking. He goes in, and a moment later, he brings Critter out on a leash, and he hands the leash to you, Claude.
He's not acting funny like, "Who is this?"
No. It seems to be that this is the person who you discovered was pretending to be the actual Martin.
No, I mean, Critter is not behaving strangely like...
No, Critter,
Doesn't know.
you notice like Critter has like he does like 5 circles around in excitement and jumps up on you.
Okay. Yeah. I give him a good hug and a pat.
Martin says, "If we are to go, we should go now, before the master rises from his sleep."
Yeah.
Well, we're not sure how many will rise, but
Yeah.
Back to the frog people then.
By the frog people.
Let's go around the front where our companions were
Yeah.
last seen.
Go.
If
Yeah.
we could just go out the front door, we would have done it already.
But we got to
we
gather our
Going
companions.
around in
That's where they're
circles
at.
here. We're still stuck on this damn plantation of sorts.
Yeah, we're going south on the east side towards the maze.
Okay.
Don't we
Oh yeah, the maze.
Oh,
That's a great idea.
You start to head south. What's that?
Don't we
What was
still
Oh, I said,
Stop
Sarah?
talking. Sarah.
don't we still have a rope over the wall?
I don't know.
Should
You'll
be.
find out.
Should be.
You head south along the eastern side of the estate. When you come around the corner, you see the fountain.
Anyone on the ground near the fountain?
Anyone
You do not
floating?
see anyone else in the front of the grounds. And about 20 feet away, you see the entrance to the hedge maze.
I shout out, Havardr, Liber.
In the distance, you hear a voice say, "Who's there?"
Does it sound like we live them?
You're not sure.
I go closer to where the voice was and shout again, Havardr, Liber, where are you?
You see someone coming out of the hedge maze. And you see that it is not Havardr or Liber. It is what looks like another servant of the estate. And you notice that he has a shovel over his shoulder and a small digging spade in his right hand. And he's wearing, kind of simple, rustic clothing. He's got really dirty, pants on, and his hands are dirty as if he's been gardening. And he says, hello, honored guests. May I help you? I am Julian, the gardener.
I walk briskly up to Julian, grab him by the front of his shirt and say, what were you doing?
He's like, I'm the gardener, sire. I take care of the hedges and the bushes and flowers.
Show me what you were doing. And I let go.
Yes, of course. Right this way.
Does he look like one of the creatures that we dispatched downstairs?
No, he looks like a normal person.
Okay.
Are you tending to the whole maze?
Yes, sire, that is my job. I tend to all of the gardens, the trees, that is my task. I'm the gardener.
So in that case, maybe you can point us with the right directions through?
Certainly,
Well,
it would be my
I'm
honor.
shoving him. I'm
Take
shoving
him
him
with us.
back into the maze. I want to
With
know.
us.
Okay.
We
No need to push, sire. I'm happy to give you a tour.
we would like to have just a small stroll outside, if you don't mind. Can you lead us through?
I don't care about the stroll, Bivoj. I want to see where he's digging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Very well, sire. He goes through the maze, and he begins leading you through. And he stops. Actually, it kind of winds around quite a bit.
I'm going to try to take note of the path we take.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough, you do. So he leads you through the maze. He turns right again. He turns right again a short way, then he turns left. Good luck. But then he goes straight, and he kind of comes into this little pocket with two dead ends. And he gestures to the one side, and you see that there's a tree, and it looks like an apple tree maybe. And you notice that there's some carvings on it, but then right around the corner is a floral kind of bed, like a bed of flowers, next to a stone pedestal with a bronze statue.
Mm-hmm.
The statue is of a woman who looks like she's dressed in robes, and there are piles of books at her feet. Her arms are kind of outstretched, almost in sort of a welcoming pose. And beneath the, like, not beneath, but, you know, at the top of the pedestal, there's a plaque.
Uh-huh.
And the plaque says, Clotildu Iare. And then you notice next to that is a word. And the word is written not in the common tongue, like the name, but it seems to be in the same runic language that you guys have seen before. Leonard, make a linguistics roll.
As he's doing that, is there any fresh patches of dirt that are upturned, or like fresh digging?
No.
Still a 4.
Okay, you do not recognize the word that is on the statue, on the plaque where the statue is. By the apple tree, does anybody examine the apple tree?
I'll look it over because I'm looking for digging spots.
You notice that, like, as you're looking at it closer, it looks like someone's kind of carved into the bark of the apple tree. And it looks like basically a carving of almost like the face of a skull.
Bane?
Check
Does the
fruit.
carving look fresh?
It looks like it's been cared for, but you don't see any freshly dug earth.
No, I mean the carving of the skull. What does it look fresh?
No, it looks like it's very old. Like it matches the same color as the bark.
I pull out the brooch with the skull on it.
Yeah.
And see if it interacts with the tree at all.
What do you do with the brooch with the skull?
I put it up to the spot where the skull is carved in. I move it around the bark. I search all the way around the tree.
You don't get any sense that it is interacting with anything in the tree.
I'm gonna walk
toward
the fruit.
Try the rune.
You kind of move the brooch all around the tree, at the bottom, at the top, over the carving. There's no interaction.
I asked the gardener, where were you digging?
Oh, he says, oh, my lord, I was much further in. Would you like me to show you?
Yes.
Question.
Of course, yes.
Who's Clothild?
Oh, the lady Clothilda is one of the Iari ancestors. She was a very learned and scholarly member of the family, perhaps one of the most educated and well-informed, if my remembrances are accurate.
How long ago did she live?
Oh, I believe she's 4 generations older than Lord Judain.
Okay.
Yes, but very long ago.
Oldrad, could you inspect the fruit? Don't take any, but just look at
I'm not concerned about the fruit. I want to find our companions.
Okay. Well, I'll look at the fruit. I want to see if there are any markings on it.
There's no markings on this fruit.
I suggest we do not eat apples from this tree.
Agreed. Now I push the gardener. Let's go.
He says, oh, yes, right this way. And he kind of turns around, turns right again, turns right again, turns right again, and then turns left twice. And he says, this is the statue of Gabriel Iare. And you see here that there's an old stone statue that looks kind of older than the bronze statue of what seems to be like an older man. His arms are outstretched, the palms of his hands facing upwards. And there's just kind of a peaceful feeling about this statue and the flowers that surround the pedestal upon which the statue rests.
Is this the statue that we saw, that some of us saw before?
No.
Oh, shoot.
You see a plaque as well, this one in stone, that says Gabriel Ira. The gardener tells you, he's like, this is actually one of the oldest statues of the venerable Gabriel Ira. He was one of the patriarchs and founders of the Ira clan. It is said that he is a descendant of Nargenheim.
Nargenheim, you mean a person?
No, my lady, of the kingdom of Nargenheim.
Oh.
I take my dagger out and I put it towards his throat. I'm like, stop delaying and take me to where you were.
He says, yes, my lord. And you notice when he responds to you, he's making direct eye contact, and his response has a very neutral tone. And he says, with your leave.
So totally not intimidated.
Not at all.
He turns and he begins walking down, this time through the maze, for about 60 feet down a straight run of the maze. He does a sharp turn.
Which
and
direction?
I'm not going to completely narrate this entire part because there's about
a lot.
There's no joke. There's like 12 turns and twists.
Okay.
And he brings you to an open area that you feel like is in the center of the maze. Although you can't be sure because you're kind of turned around. You see a lilac bush, totally in bloom, and you see freshly dug dirt in about a 6 foot by 6 foot square in front of the lilac bush.
Mm-hmm.
Two people side by side.
I start to move the dirt with my hands.
He says,
excavating.
Oh my lord, would you like to use my shovel instead? It would be much faster.
I grab the shovel.
I'm gonna step back and put my hand on my short sword.
Okay. Is
Kind of
anybody
position
else
myself
doing
behind him.
anything in the area?
I'm moving into position behind the gardener so he doesn't get any good idea.
I'll just turn to the gardener and ask him very politely, good sir, I've heard that there is a particular tree that bears a pear fruit, and that tree was put there to honor Lady Katharina, I don't know, Marjit. Could you show us that?
He says, well, that's quite far away through the maze.
I don't care.
And he says, well, if you'd like, sir, I can take you while this gentleman digs here.
No, we'll wait for the gentleman.
As you wish.
I want to speak privately with Martin.
Okay, Martin kind of like is 10 feet away.
I'll walk over there. Hey, Martin?
Yes.
Is this one of the people of the gardener? Is he one of the people of the chateau?
Yes.
Okay, thought so. I will quietly move at longer range. I'll stand by Martin, and I'll just get my bow ready.
Okay. It takes about 5 minutes, Oldrad, for you to dig.
Mm-hmm.
And you hit something hard. And it's a bone. You continue to excavate.
Yeah.
And what you begin to dig out is what looks like the skeletal remains of someone. There's no clothing, no equipment, okay. Just a skeleton.
Okay. I just find the one?
Yeah. Julian is just standing there waiting for you. And when you come upon the bones, he just smiles at you. He says, "Did you find what you were looking for, my lord?"
Are these the bones of one of my companions?
"No, my lord, they are not."
Do you know where they are?
"The bones of your companions? No, my lord."
No, where my companions are.
"I have no idea, my lord."
And I throw the shovel down.
Whose bones are these?
"These are the bones of Isabel."
And why were you digging here today? They look like he were dead for some time.
You notice that Julian kind of looks off for a moment, and he says, "I'm not sure. It is what I do every morning."
I hold the brooch up to him and say, "Does this look familiar to you?"
He says, "No, my lord, it does not."
I think we killed. I think that's one of the servants we dispatched. Right?
It
Didn't
sounds
you
familiar.
that turned into a
I'm trying to look at my notes right now.
shrieking?
Ask Martin who we.
Bane, you remember who Isabel is. She was a very nice girl, one of the maids. She took you on a short tour.
She was lovely. I thought maybe she had something going with Lord Jourdain.
You did think that. And now you're looking at her bones.
Wasn't Isabel the one that turned into that screechy thing and
kind of banshee type
down on us?
Didn't she try to kill me?
Well, that was Rixenda, but yes.
Perhaps.
Can we tell how old the bones are?
Well, it would seem that they're pretty old because there's no flesh left.
Right. I asked the. Go ahead.
Oh, I grabbed the gardener. Gardener, this Isabella, I know her. Tell me, did Lord Jourdain kill this woman?
No, my lord. She was a suicide. She fell into a great despair when Lord Jourdain defiled her.
Ooh.
But we met her last night.
And kill them all over again.
We met her yesterday, right?
If time is time in this place.
Yeah.
Indeed we did.
How long ago did we arrive to this estate?
A day ago.
Asking if the.
Oh, you're asking Julian?
Yeah, if he has different perception.
He says, "You arrived yesterday, did you not?"
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
Do you know where our companions are?
I do not, my lord. Perhaps they are having their breakfast in the chateau. You could check with the kitchen staff. I'm sure Hervis is already awake. He usually rises at dawn to begin preparing the breakfast.
So tell me, vile creature, what do you turn into when the lights go down?
He says, I do not understand your meaning, good sir. I do not understand why you issue such insult to me.
Do you not see what happens here after nightfall?
I do not rise at night. I go to my quarters and I sleep, as do the other servants.
What was your date of birth?
862, good sir.
What year, did we decide what year it was, everyone? It's like
I think it was 135.
You believe that it is, after multiple bits of information, you think that it might be 1134.
Oh, 34, sorry.
Yeah.
So you're,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not great with math. What is that, about 300 years old?
He says, what do you have? What meaning do you have, sir? The year is 895.
I pull out a coin with the current year on it,
He says,
and I show it to him.
that is a superb piece of counterfeit, but I would not try to use that in any town.
Yeah, we were told not to mention this to.
Let's
the
get out of
staff.
here. Let's get
Just
out of
in-
this maze.
Just in
One-
case.
One need not be a merchant or a moneylender to see that that is clearly counterfeit, sir.
Right.
Just in case, good sir. Have you seen today Joam and Estef and maybe anyone else?
The footmen, yes. I'm assuming that they're dealing with their daily duties in the chateau. I do not venture. I am not one of the servants in the house. I work the grounds. I'm a groundskeeper, sir.
I look at him dead in his eyes. It saddens me that you do not know you are dead.
I'm confused by the meaning of your cryptic words, sir.
Don't worry, Bane. Even though he's dead for a long time, a couple of 100 years, he still may show us the path through the maze.
I want to free them of this curse.
If it is the path through the maze which you seek, I can lead you to the front, sir.
Well, we need to find our friends first.
I cannot provide you with that information as I do not know, but if you would like, I can lead you to the front of the maze.
You may show us the entrance and we can go back to the chateau.
Oh, of course. Please follow me.
Yeah,
Again,
I follow him and I'm making
winding through. You go through 9 other turns until you come back around, and then standing before you are the walls and the gate, and you are at the front of the maze. And he says, there you are, sir, as promised.
Nicely done, nicely done. I'm a little bit hungry. Let's go back and we shall see what we can do with our companions after the breakfast.
Check the gates.
You see Martin at this point go, excuse me. And Julian says, of course. Martin goes up to the gate and pushes it open. And he looks back at you guys, and he takes a step out. Almost as if he's walking onto glass, very carefully. And he steps a foot outside of the gate. And he looks back at you guys wide-eyed. And he says, perhaps you gentlemen would like to go for a walk, as you mentioned before. For a walk.
Yeah, I think Cricket needs a really long walk.
Yes, let's do that. And Martin starts walking.
I follow Martin.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
I can always go over the wall again.
Raise your hand if you are walking out.
My hand is raised.
Can we drag the gardener with us?
Are you going to try that?
Yeah.
I want to see what
Get him
happens
over
to
the threshold.
Okay, you pull him over the. He's like, sir, what are you doing? And you pull him over the threshold.
Yeah.
And he's like, sir, I have duties. I have tasks that I must deal with. I don't want to displease Lord Jardine.
Don't worry about that.
We'll have you that you helped us and guided us.
And I'm sorry for insulting you. We will help you with your tasks after we finish our walk.
As you wish. I certainly hope that Lord Jardine is not displeased. Martin has not stopped to wait for you or to talk to you. He is walking off into the woods.
I'll follow him.
He's
All right,
out of there.
I need to know by raising of hands if you are going off into the woods and leaving the estate, raise your hand.
Bivoj is hesitant a little bit, but yeah.
Claude? Yes. Bane? And we're waiting for a verbal yes, I'm leaving the estate from Oldrad?
No.
Oldrad stands at the gate, watching you guys walk off into the woods. And that, my friends, is where we'll end this episode of the Lamenters. I guess we're going into part 9 or whatever it's going to be. Stay tuned for more of the Lamenters, everybody. Peace out. Bye-bye.
Well, hello, and welcome to Blayne Allen World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.